startups, funding, scaling, and exits. Okay, so the last couple of days you've seen we were talking about financial models, financial projections, things like that. We're continuing the same theme. Today, we're talking about tools to help you build a financial model that will impress investors. And when I say tools, these are not just software. I mean, yeah, I'm going to include, a couple of different options. Those are really not important, but tools in the sense, things that help you build that model that is going to impress investors and and show them that you're someone worth investing in. Okay, so let's dig in. So I'll be breaking down the best tools and strategies to create a compelling financial model, covering everything from choosing the right software, of course, to mastering key concepts like revenue projections, cost structures, cash flow statements, and P&L statements and all that. First of all, let's understand the importance of a solid financial model. If you watched the previous episodes, you know the importance, and you probably already know. But I'm going to talk about it again because this is for the benefit of new viewers, and also for you to just to recap and reiterate. A financial model, a solid financial model, demonstrates financial viability and scalability, right? It allows founders to make informed decisions. So this is not just about investors. This financial models, pitch deck, projections, they're not, um, you know, numbers that you plug in just to impress investors. A lot of people do that. A lot of founders do that, and it falls flat because, you know what I always say, investors are not fools. And so this actually, if you can create a financial model that helps you run a better ship, that's what's going to impress investors. Facilitates investor evaluation and decision making. It makes it very easy for investors to go after your idea, you know, based on, of course, assuming your idea is already attractive to them in the first place. Uncovers potential challenges and opportunities. Very important, not just for yourself, for the investors too. And don't for a minute think that if you don't talk about challenges and risks and all that, and try to push them under the rug, it's going to work. No, investors are very savvy. They have to be. They're in the business of investing money and facing the consequences. They will reap the rewards. They'll also face losses. So they're pretty sophisticated. So first of all, let's start with the basics. Financial modeling software, really, it doesn't matter, but let's just cover them. Excel, of course, a classic choice, highly customizable, steeper learning curve for a lot of people, but it's getting better and better. Right now, Excel with AI integration makes it so easy to create for using 365 Pilot. So easy to create those pie charts and in a meaningful way, right? So you enter all the information and then you can get this. So it's a pretty good alternative. Google Sheets, collaborative, easy to use, integrates with other Google services. It's a pretty good one itself. Plan Guru, tailored for startups, offers forecasting tools, cash flow analysis, very important. So it's worth that little bit of expense. I'm not associated with them, and I'm not plugging them here. It's just an option. Use it or not. Do your due diligence and then go for it if you wanna. Float, cash flow forecasting, real-time data, scenario planning. May come in handy, but again, like I said, you don't need these. I'll be honest with you. You don't need these paid. Excel, Google Sheets, just enough. Okay, so let's look at what the key components of a financial model are. And you already know this if you've been watching the previous episodes, but let's just go through them once again. Revenue projections, right? Addressable market, pricing, customer acquisition and customer acquisition costs, lifetime value, things like that. Cost structure, fixed and variable costs, break-even analysis. So fixed costs, this could be the rent and things like that. teams, and all those variable costs could be, I don't know, vendors, and break-even analysis is important. Cash flow statement. I was talking about the camera. Yeah, okay. So cash flow statement. I was talking about inflows and outflows, working capital requirements in the previous episode. This is very important. You need to have a detailed view. Okay, whether you include it in the in your summary pitch deck, okay, maybe not, but in your main pitch deck, the pitch deck that you would use to present in front of investors, you need to have these. You need to have detailed cash flow analysis. PL statements, yeah, revenues, expenses, net income. If you're already in business, if you're already making money, right? So if you have an MRR, ARR, these are very important. These are critical. Okay. Utilize industry benchmarks and metrics. So research industry-specific financial benchmarks. So these, the ones we already looked at, they're generic. But also within your sector, let's say you're in fintech, you would have a specific set of financial benchmarks. If you're in, I don't know, the medical sector, something else. So research what they are. I'm sure you already know them, but maybe you're missing something. Make sure you incorporate those into your pitch deck. Utilize credible sources. For example, PitchBook is pretty good. CB Insights, other industry reports. But then industry reports tend to be very expensive. So be careful. If you're going to buy it, make sure you have a valid reason you're buying these. Consider key performance indicators relevant to your sector. We had a look at them in yesterday's episode and in the previous one too. KPIs are very important, but relevant to your sector too. Customize your model to reflect unique business aspects. So if you're taking a model from somewhere, customize it to your startup, to your idea, to your industry, to your target audience, and your unique business aspects, right? So don't just copy and paste. That's what I'm saying. Incorporate scenario analysis and sensitivity analysis. Scenario analysis is best case. I typed it 2 times, but because maybe it's the best case, right? And the worst case scenario. So best case, base case, and worst case scenarios, right? So best case is optimistic, but again, don't go overboard with that. Be realistic, be genuine, be authentic. Base case is a benchmark. Okay, this is average. And then do not be afraid to put in worst case, because you're going to be showing the investor that you're real and you're not, some joker who thinks it's all going to be a bed of roses and you're going to be the next unicorn, all that. You could be. It's okay to be confident, but just worst case scenarios too. Sensitivity analysis is identify key assumptions, assess impact on projections. So your projections will be based on a set of assumptions, right? So let's say revenue projections or user acquisition projection. You base it on your GTM. But what is your GTM based on? Is it based on a specific skill set of one of your team members? Or are you going to be hiring an agency? And then that is sensitivity, right? So the impact of on the projections. For instance, you start working with that agency, and the first couple of months you realized you're not a good fit, or they realized, and then they dump you or you dump them. How is that going to affect these projections? Would you still be able to hit that 500,000 user base by the end of the year? Right? So you gotta do that. Could you do all possible analysis? No, of course not. But the main ones, especially user acquisition, revenue, these are the key metrics, right? Stress test your financial model against different market conditions. So you got a GTM, you got a TAM, you got a SOM, you got a SAM, and you're making a lot of assumptions here. What if, I don't know, a particular raw material or a chip or something in your market segment, it dries up, or that company producing that shuts down? What then happens? What would this model stand up? Okay, would it break down? You got to do a bit of that stress testing. Demonstrates preparedness, resilience, and adaptability in investors. So all these things, the scenario analysis, sensitivity analysis, and the stress test, they show that you are prepared for all eventualities, right? You're prepared for the best case, you're prepared for the base case and the worst case. It shows resilience. That means it shows that you understand that life is full of risks, business is full of risks, startup world is full of risks, and you're embarking on a journey that is wrought with risks. And yet you're going to persevere and you're going to be resilient because you understand these dynamics and adaptability. So by talking about scenarios, you're showing that you may be highly adaptable because you understand this. You know, the people who don't understand this are the ones that cannot adapt. So, yeah. So keep your model simple and transparent. So having said all that, you might start thinking, oh my God, do I need to have this super complex model because, I'm talking about stress testing and sensitivity analysis and no, keep it simple, KISS, right? Avoid unnecessary complexity. Focus on key drivers. Key drivers. Clearly label and document assumptions, sources, and calculations. So if you're making some kind of assumptions, if you're making some kind of calculations, not in the same slide because you might overcomplicate it, but have an appendix slide, right? And leave a small asterisk and say at the bottom in the footer, more details in appendix B, so that if the investor wants to, he or she can go and check it out. Use visual aids, charts, graphs to make data more digestible. Oh my God. One of my pet peeves, I look at pitch decks that come across my desk and it's just numbers and ugly graphics. I'm sick and tired of it, right? Guys, come on, gals, use visual aids. Regularly update your model to reflect real-world performance and changes. Okay, this is about post-funding, mostly post-funding communication, as I discussed in one of my previous episodes. All right, let's conclude this. You understand the importance of solid financial model, software options, and key components, I hope, by the end of this video. Remember, utilize benchmarks, scenario analysis as simplicity and transparency, right? These are the key things, and pay complete attention to these things. Learn what scenario analysis is. Learn how to stress test something. What are the different financial models out there? And all these things. So educate yourself. The biggest tool, the biggest weapon you have as a founder is education, right? Learning. Educate yourself. You may be great with the tech part of your thing or with your business. And then these are the things that actually let you down. So dedicate some time to learn, to educate yourself, and get a good advisor on board to evaluate your financial model, to help you build that financial model, because that's going to make or break your investment and also for the future, right? It'll also validate your idea. Your financial model is where you got to start seeing the cracks. So, okay. I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, just hit me on LinkedIn, DM me, or on Twitter, Mash Bonigala. On Twitter, I'm Bonigala. And I'll try to offer my 2 cents. Okay. Till my next episode, go forth and